Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zonate A Garden, and today I'm really excited. I am doing an unboxing from King's Mums, and it is a whole bunch of chrysanthemum cuttings. Now, so what I want to show you guys today is I want to show you guys how all of these chrysanthemum cuttings arrived, talk to you a little bit more about chrysanthemums or mums, and then talk to you a little bit, get these planted up, show you how that goes, and talk to you about my reasoning behind growing heirloom chrysanthemums. Now, a little bit of background, I have grown dahlias in the past, and I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on dahlias, and the tubers have not done well, or they've rotted, or they've grown all year and never bloomed. I've just had kind of issue after issue with them, and that's been a problem. And so what I wanted to do is start growing something else that could be a replacement for a dahlia, you know, this large, beautiful bloom. And so after researching, I discovered heirloom chrysanthemums, and these are not your traditional chrysanthemums or mums that you see in your local nurseries during the fall. These are all florist grade. So these are basically mums that are grown for really long stems and large, beautiful blooms, and are utilized throughout the florist industry. So once I discovered that that would be something that I would really like, then you had to locate a supplier. Well, one of the most popular suppliers that there is King's Mums. Now, King's Mums has been in business for a really, really long time. They are currently located in Oklahoma, but they had originally located in California and then moved to Oregon, and then now they're in Oklahoma. They're on their third set of owners. Their owners' names are Brian and Sheila Knutz, and both of them have at least 20 years experience growing mums. They have over 150 varieties available on their website. They sell retail, they sell to local gardens, and they sell for cut flower growers. Now, they are extremely popular and sell out very quickly. They always open up their supply to their previous customers first. So I actually got on the waiting list, and while all of this had gone out much earlier in the spring for all of their other customers, I did get an email about a week ago from Brian saying that they did have some varieties left over and was I interested, and he needed to know very quickly. Well, I responded within 10 minutes. I was like, absolutely, I'm very interested. I wanted to get on as one of their customers so I have first dibs in the future. But I was also pleasantly surprised that pretty much every single mum I wanted was available with the exception of one. So I was absolutely thrilled. They do have a minimum purchase, and they do charge for shipping depending on how small your package is. I think my shipping was maybe like $12, $15, somewhere around then. Not bad at all. And I did go ahead and open the box. The reason being, these are cuttings, so they have very small root systems, and so I didn't want to leave them in until I had time to do a video. I wanted to just go ahead and open them up, check them, and then I actually replied back to Brian on email letting him know that everything looked really good. So they arrived in this brown postal box. They were shipped on a Monday and they arrived on a Wednesday. So they have not been in this box but maybe 48 hours. So the box was actually filled with lots of the styrofoam peanuts to basically cushion all of the cuttings. So I'm going to move that aside out of the way. And it had a packing slip, and it has information that came with it about what to do once your mums arrive. So I ordered, I think it's 20 different cuttings. Some of them I got doubles of because I got them for my friend Kristen as a birthday gift, some of these heirloom chrysanthemums. So cuttings are a lot different than getting plants in the mail. Cuttings have to be dealt with almost immediately, and you do need to go through a process of planting them. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to talk a little bit about chrysanthemums, then we're going to get these planted up, and then I'm going to go over the varieties that I purchased, and you are going to die when you see some of these varieties. They are absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to show y'all. So chrysanthemums are actually pretty easy to grow. They are sun lovers. They need minimum 8 hours of sun, but they love full-on sun. They do need well-draining soil as their roots can rot, or they actually have a hard time if your soil doesn't drain well and it freezes. It can basically freeze the roots and kill the plants. But chrysanthemums are great for borders, they're great for garden beds, containers, and then of course they're wonderful for growing as cut flowers. Now if you aren't able to purchase some of these heirloom chrysanthemum varieties, you can purchase mums from your local nursery, and I have done that, and I have many of them that I grow on as perennials in my garden, and I also cut those for cut flowers as well. Now I utilize mums as a perennial, and they tend to be perennial in zones 5 through 9. Some mums are perennial, some aren't. When you're at your local nursery buying, you know, the typical fall mums, they're not going to tell you. It's not going to say on the label whether they're perennial. Most of them are just going to say annual. However, I have found that most varieties that I purchase from my local nursery, plant in my garden, they do fine as a perennial. Now, you do need some prep if you're going to overwinter these. Now, if you're in a zone colder than zone 5, what you want to do is actually lift your chrysanthemum after the first freeze. Go ahead and lift it, pot it up, and bring it inside. At that time, you're going to store it in a nice dark place, such as a garage that doesn't get too cold, or like a closet. You do want to keep the soil moist throughout that entire time. And then once spring starts to come around, maybe you pull them out in January, February, March, somewhere around then, start pulling them out and introducing them a little bit by little bit to light. You do want to make sure that they stay moist throughout the entire time that you're keeping them in a dark space. But if you are in a colder zones, that's a way that you can preserve the chrysanthemum for the next spring. You can obviously store them in a greenhouse as well, which would work well. You just need to make sure that you're keeping them moist and you're monitoring the temperatures. Now let's talk about my area. I'm zone 8A, so let me talk to you a little bit about how I winterize my mums. I basically wait until a freeze comes through, and then I cut them back until I have a stem about 3 to 4 inches above the ground level. I want to leave that specifically so I remember where that mum is, but then all the new shoots are going to come off that. If you cut the mums all the way to the ground, you will have less stems come up than if you leave a little 3 to 4 inch piece of stem. After that, I want to observe and make sure that my soil is well draining. If it is, then I'm going to proceed with a layer of mulch, a very thick layer. And I will, with these heirloom chrysanthemums, I will be taking extra care with these, and I'll probably do a video in the winter about how to winterize these. But you want to add a nice layer of mulch. The mulch isn't necessarily about the plant, it's more about the ground. It's more about retaining some of the heat so that the ground does not continually freeze, thaw, freeze, thaw, freeze, thaw. It just wants consistent heat within the ground. That freeze thaw, that really can hurt a plant and maybe kill it over the winter. When they begin to emerge in the spring, I apply a slow release fertilizer, and that's about it. They do really, really well for me at that point. Typically in my area, I get a couple of bloom flushes. Their blooms are relative to the amount of daylight coinciding with temperatures. So I typically can get 2 bloom cycles. If it's a cooler spring, I can get 3 bloom cycles. After each bloom cycle, I cut them back by 50% and prepare for the next flush. Typically, right around July 4th is the best time to go ahead and prune all your mums back and prepare them for new blooms for the fall. For these chrysanthemums, typically heat, lots and lots of heat, will delay the blooms. If you have a cooler, earlier fall, you're probably going to get more blooms and they're going to come on faster. Mums are heavy feeders. I highly suggest planting them with a slow release fertilizer and then applying that fertilizer each new year as they start to emerge. You can apply a high nitrogen fertilizer once the blooms are set. I always forget to fertilize them midway. I remember the slow release at the beginning of the year, but I'm terrible about remembering to apply a water soluble one. But anyway, once I do that, maybe a couple of times throughout the growing season, and it works out fine, and I'm always very happy with my mums. Now, mums can be divided every 2 to 3 years. That is a thought that I have for these. I would like to look at potentially dividing these in the future, but like I said, we've got 2 to 3 years of growth that have to go on these before you can even consider something like that. Okay, so let's get these potted up and then go over the varieties that I have. Okay, I want to stop for a minute and show you how these are packaged. It looks like there's about 5 seedlings per container. Instead of trying to pull them out, I'm actually just going to rip the packaging because I don't want to damage the cutting. So like I said, these are cuttings from larger chrysanthemum plants, and they have been rooted, ready to go. Their little seedlings are covered by a little bit of fine paper around the side. You do not want to remove that. Leave the paper. It's biodegradable. The roots are already coming through. You will do more damage removing it than by leaving it. And so each cutting is individually packaged in its kind of little paper container. I can see nice, beautiful sets of roots, and each one of them is labeled. So at this point, I'm just going to leave the label on. I'm going to come over here to my soil. I'm using a basic potting soil, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my cutting just like that, and boom, done. Very simply and easily done. I am moving the label up a little bit, making a full of my soil, tucking in my seedling. This will be well draining soil. This is just a basic potting soil. They did say not to use a moisture control soil because that could end up damaging and rotting out the roots. This one actually has two put together, so I'll create a label. It's because they're the same one. So I ordered extras for my friend Kristen. Okay, so those were super easy to pot up. They highly suggest utilizing a 4 to 6 inch little container to start your cuttings in. They do not suggest planting them directly into your garden. It's just too hot to do that. And you really want to kind of pay attention and see how everything's going. Now I've got these potted up. Mums don't actually like for their leaves to get really wet, so I've got them in a tray, and I will be watering them all from underneath, that'll work really great. I'm going to give these just like a night inside to soak up water really, really well. Then I'll start moving them outside. I will not be putting them in any kind of direct sunlight. Basically, I'll start them off in the shade probably for half a day, bring them in, put them out a little bit longer the next day, bring them in, back and forth, and then I'll start introducing them to a little bit more sunlight each day. The reason I'm having to be so careful is it's the hottest time of the year right now for me to be messing around with chrysanthemums cuttings. So not even a full plant, because they are still working on building their roots. So I am going to be very careful through the process. But super easy. I'm very happy, pleased with all the product, very pleased with how well everything looks. I wanted to point out I'm not sponsored by them at all. I paid full price for all of these cuttings. I paid full price. I paid the full shipping. I did all the things. So I'm not sponsored by them at all. I don't have to talk nicely about them at all. But so far, I'm really happy with it. I will say on one of their things, it said to contact them within 14 days if they don't arrive well, or if for some reason they perish in the first 14 days that you have them. So that's good to know as well. They're looking really, really good. I'm going to be adding some more water, but let's go over all the varieties that I ended up choosing. Okay, as a reminder, my main focus for what I purchased was to utilize them as cut flowers. I wasn't choosing to utilize them as border or anything like that. So you definitely need to be aware when you're choosing your cultivars. If you're wanting short border ones, look for that size. There's medium, there's tall, there's some with really tiny, beautiful button blooms, and there's some with big, giant kind of football size mums, which are wonderful. Okay, so King's Mums classifies each of their mums. They said that they use a National Chrysanthemum Society classification system. So you'll see the name, and then you'll see, like their example on here is Bola de Oro 1A medium. The 1 is a designation for the class, which is regular incurve, reflex, incurve, decorative, blah, blah, blah. The A is a designation for the large size bloom. Double A is the largest, A is large, B is medium, C is small blooms. And then the last thing, medium, so Small, a short, medium, tall. Short is 2.5 feet, medium is 2.5 to 4 feet, tall is 4+ feet. So that is the classification on each of them. So I'll talk to you a little bit about each one. The first one I selected is APRICOT ALEXIS. It is a 5A large. So the stands for a larger bloom, and it is a taller variety. I like the really soft peachy palette, and I also bought a second one of those for my friend Kristen. Okay, the next one is a KELVIN Mandarin, and this is like a really rich orange color, really stunning, going to be really great for the fall. It is a 6B medium, so it's a little bit of a medium bloom and a medium height. The next one I got is called Lava, and it is an 11A large, so it's large blooms and tall, and I really like kind of the spider effect on these in this bright bold color of yellow with kind of this hot pink magenta ends. The next variety is called Lily Gallon, and this is a 13A large, so large blooms and very tall. This is one of their exotic classifications, and it's kind of like a pinky red wine purple color, and then the top of the petals are like a white kind of silvery tone. I'm really excited to see what this one looks like. The next variety kind of plays with similar colors as the one before. This one's called Norton Vic. It is a 5B medium. So the B stands for, it's a medium-sized bloom and it's a medium height. The numbers at the beginning are all different kinds of classifications. Like this classification is intermediate in curve. I don't know enough about all those classifications to really chat with you about them, but it is something to kind of look at when you are on their website. Okay, the next variety is called Purple Light, and it is 8A large blooms, tall. It's kind of an anemone style, so just kind of this really big puffy inner center with smaller petals around the edge. Okay, this next variety I was kind of obsessed with. It is called Satin Ribbon. I actually ordered two of these, one for myself, one for Kristen. This is a 13A large. The classification is unclassified. It's called exotic, and it is a large full bloom, and it is tall, but I'm really excited to see how this one ends up looking. It's stunning. The next variety is Whiteout, and this is a 1A large blooms, tall. You can see that I chose mostly tall, kind of like a rounded football mum kind of look, and it's kind of like a creamy white. It says paper white, so I assume that's a little bit of an off-white. The next variety is called Daybreak, and it is an 8A large bloom, tall stems, and it is an anemone style as well, so it has a nice full center, which kind of looks more of a yellow tone and surrounded by kind of apricot orange, kind of cushion looking petals. I'm excited for that one. I think it's going to look really good for the fall. The next variety is called Coca Bun Me, and it is a 1A large, and so once again, large blooms, really tall. It's lavender pink with a purple reverse, which I think will be really pretty, and it has kind of trailing petals, which I think is super cool. Okay, this next variety is called Les Mons. I ordered two of these, one for Chris and one for me. On the website, it says 3A large. However, when I look at the tag, it says short. So if it's short, it'd still be around under 2 feet. So it could still have some really good length. But it is a large and beautiful kind of football mum in a soft kind of lavender pink tone. Now, the next variety I think is one of my favorites. It's called MOCHA, and I ordered two of these, one for Kristen, one for me. It is 11A large. It's a spider variety, but I kind of love it's kind of like terracotta mocha tones to it. I think it's always really fun when you find a bloom that has some brown tones. I think it's really pretty. The next variety is called Oriental Night, and it is a 9A large, so large blooms, tall plant, and it's kind of a dark plum purple. It's a spoons variety, so the petals almost come out and have like a little spoon effect on the end of them. Absolutely beautiful. I was really excited about the purple variety. I think it'll be great for fall. The next variety, I bought one for myself, one for Kristen as well. This is called ROSEDEW, and it is 5B medium, and so it's going to have a medium bloom and a medium height. The medium height was between 2 and 4 feet. Anything over 4 feet is the large height. But it's very pretty, a rosy pink intermediate curve that blooms a durable hard finish, produces good exhibition or garden flowers. So they give a lot of really good information on the website. As a newbie, when you go on the website, I don't think you can just like go on and order right away. You do need to take some time to study the website. They have some areas where they talk to you about how they categorize everything, growing the mums, information about the company, and then information about the different categories. So it's worth going and reading that part before you actually order and choose your mums. Okay, and then the last variety is called St. Tropez, and it is a 5B medium, so it's going to be a medium-sized bloom and a medium height. I thought the colors are really fun. I was really into these reversible colors, you know, bronze on one side with like a crimson on the other. That was really neat. So you probably saw multiple varieties that have one color on one side of their petal and a different color on the other side. I just think that is really neat and a very cool look. Okay, so this is sucking up water like crazy. I've already put in 2 kettles full of water. It's all looking really good. Some leaves look a little bit limp, but most everything looks in really great shape. So I think that's going to be good. I'm actually just going to leave them here on the table overnight before I start transferring them outside. I will be sure to give you all updates about this as we go. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, learning a little bit more about King's Mums and these chrysanthemum cuttings and how I went through the process. I thought pricing was very fair. I was very excited about that. Way less expensive, obviously, than buying a full-size plant. I've been nervous about doing cuttings in the past because I'm not great at taking care of cuttings. However, I've read enough about King's Mums to know that people have a lot of success and that people are very happy with the way they are sent to them, the way they're prepared, and how well they're rooted in. And you guys saw from the video, they're very well rooted in. It's obvious they've done this for a long time. So I'm excited to see how all of these do. So let me know if you are someone who grows heirloom chrysanthemums. If you are, drop down your favorite variety that you like to grow, or if you're someone who's interested in growing heirloom chrysanthemums, I'd love to hear your inches, where you're thinking about putting them in the garden. Most of these are going to be in the cutting garden in the back, but I am going to include some of these into the front and side yard garden beds as well. All right, y'all, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up, and make sure you check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.